Well, I would like to ask you guys, who do you think right now, in your opinion, if you could, I would say it's kind of a fantasy booking type situation. Who would you guys realistically, if it was your company, if you were running AEW, who would you like to sign, and who do you think would be good pickups for them at this point? I guess we'll start with you, Stames.
Well, I guess obviously everybody's going to say Kenny Omega is the biggest free agent out there, or will be very shortly in a couple of days here. Now, there are some reports to say that AEW does have the inside track to him. We'll see as far as that goes. That would be an incredible signing. But I also think...
absolutely, yeah.
I also think Swagger here would be a great signing too, just for the fact that he is doing the Bellator thing. It would give some eyes to that product that maybe normally wouldn't get to see that product was there. And I believe there was a report out, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Hollywood, where AEW actually said that they'd be okay with MMA fighters coming in,
yes,
and working their career in AEW.
I think that was a direct public message to Swagger, actually. That was him saying, hey, Jake, what we talked about a couple days ago, yeah, you're good. You can still do that. You won. You could still have your career. Come on over.
I'll tell you one guy I don't want to see. I don't want to see Alberto Del Rio.
Oh, God, no.
Alberto El Patron, whatever you want to call him.
If we know what he's like on the indies, they know.
I hope so. I hope they do. I'll tell you another guy that I think is very exciting. He's doing some work in TNA right now, and he's over huge in Lucha Underground, and that is, I don't know what he's called in Impact right now, but I know him as Pentagon Dark. Pentagon would be a great guy to sign too. I think the guy has a great following, and I think he'd get over big time.
Yeah, Pentagon would be excellent. And of course, he fought at All In, and I think he really got some big pops from the fans there. He's definitely has a name value to him, and I think he's also a guy that has a very unique style that, it's not a whole lot of people are doing things the way he does things, honestly. And I think, he has that lucha appeal to him. I think that would bring in a lot of Hispanic or Mexican fans to the promotion as well, which I think, that's a big market right now. You could definitely use somebody like that to bring in that demographic.
Absolutely.
I would say Omega and Pentagon definitely, but this is twofold, okay? Two guys that I would bring in immediately, and I truly believe that they need big guys, not indie guys. Your typical indie guy. They need big guys. Two guys
I would absolutely agree with that. Yeah, I think they definitely need some bigger guys.
Two guys I would bring in immediately would be Ryback and Big Cass. Now, I know Big Cass had something happen to him at a show in December. I guess he had a seizure. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what kind of health he's in or if he's having some trouble. But if he's good to go and squared away, I think he's a big dude that would be, considered cool also. I could see him fitting in with those guys. And I think they need a big guy killer like Ryback too.
I don't think it would hurt him either, and I think it's a possibility. I don't know where their contracts are with WWE, but two big guys that need to get away from the WWE, Carl Anderson and
Doc.
Mental Block. Doc. I mean,
yeah, Doc
those two guys, they're not doing anything with them over at the WWE. They may as well leave too. I think they'd have a lot more successful career in AEW, and I think they'd enjoy themselves more. They'd be with some of their friends there. I think they'd just be a better fit in AEW.
Well, Saint, give me yours. Give me your ideas.
Sure. If this was my thing, obviously I'm never going to be involved in the wrestling business. None of us are. But if I was running this, I think the most obvious person you would want to go after is CM Punk. I mean, realistically, there's probably no chance in hell, honestly. but he's easily a guy that you could base your whole entire promotion around. And I also feel like he could really fit in any kind of spot you could plug him in. He could be always a guy in your main event, but maybe putting over younger guys, or he could be, like I said, the face of your company and being the person that you're going to, base your whole entire promotion and all your storylines around. Now, I know that one obviously is unrealistic, but here's a couple guys that
I'm not so sure that it is unrealistic, to be honest with you.
No?
The guy's got to eat. I don't think he's going to have a career anymore in MMA. That's over, isn't it, Jeff?
Oh,
yeah, I would imagine it should be.
He's still under contract.
He was lousy.
He's still under he's still under contract, I think, but he's contracted now. He's doing color for another promotion.
Okay.
Right.
I thought Dana White pretty well said, that's it, I'm done.
He said
there's not going to be any more fights.
Yeah.
Yep. But he's under contract to another company, as far as I know.
Well, I just look at it this way. I just feel like right now you could totally tell he wants to have nothing to do with professional wrestling. I could kind of tell with like that mindset that I think he's kind of dead set on it right now. However, I do think it's certainly a possibility for the future because I think he would be a good fit with AEW. I think he would be a lot more happier there. He wouldn't be under the thumb of Vince McMahon and Triple H, and I think he'd be able to do a lot more of what he wants to do.
And he wouldn't have to do 300 dates a year.
Yeah, of course. And I sure with him being married now, that would be a big perk to not be able to have to do all them dates like that.
He's been married for a while now, so he might be ready to go 300 times out a year.
He might actually.
Yeah. Now, as far as guys that I think actually are realistic possibilities, I agree with Swagger. I think he'd be excellent. I think him and Ryback, I agree with both of them guys. I think they would be big pickups for AEW. They're guys that, of course, like their main event stars, basically. You could really have them be a big part of your main event program. Now, there's a couple other people I have listed here. I'm going to try to be quick about this. Another guy I would sign if it was me, I would sign RVD, Rob Van Dam. I think at his age, he could still go, and I think he could still really provide a lot that would really boost maybe their mid-card and really help put over a lot of the younger wrestlers and talent. And the other people here, now these guys, you guys may not know, these are kind of dark horse picks for me that might be diamonds in the rough. The first guy I'm going to mention is a guy that our buddy AC might know a lot more about than me, but he's a guy that's in NEW, Big Bacon Brad Hollister. Dude, this guy is going to be a star someday.
I know who he is. He's great. He's great.
He would be an excellent guy. He's a bigger guy. He's kind of, I would say, a larger version of Michael Elgin. I think he's a more talented performer than Elgin. No offense to Michael Elgin, but I think he is definitely the type of bigger, bulkier kind of bruiser that that really should be like a big star in somebody's promotion. I think right now he's kind of wasted in NEW. He really has a huge upside. And the other three people I have are all associated with MLW. So I don't really know what their contract situation is. I think, unfortunately, these guys might be locked up right now. But the people I'm talking about are Brian Pillman Jr., the son of the great Flying Brian. I think he would be huge. I think this dude, he's only 23 years old, and the stuff he's doing now at that age is incredible, dude. In 10 years, this guy could be a huge star. And the other two people are Cody Hall, the son of Scott Hall. He's another big guy that I think has a huge upside. And we were talking about AEW wanting to get some MMA-oriented guys. Another guy from MLW that I think is really good is Tom Lawler. He's really come out of nowhere within the last couple of years. He used to be a UFC fighter, and he's kind of flown under the radar, but he's really blown up within the last few years getting into professional wrestling. He is surprisingly really good. He's been doing it since about 2014, and every year it does seem like he really improves quite a bit.
Well, you bring up a good point with some of these names because it should be said, too, I don't want them to turn into you know, a WCW where they're just grabbing everybody with name, and pretty soon you have a roster full of ex-WWE guys, much like WCW
right,
did.
Of course not.
Right. So some of these names, yeah, like Pillman Jr., Cody Hall, we know those guys. But I want to see some of that too. I want them to, like MJF, for example. I want them to have a guy that only a small amount of people know, and push them and make them a star in your company. Like, they're going to need their own faces as well for the company.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I really think that's probably going to be the focus of AEW. I think they're going to push their base guys that are kind of their own homegrown guys. And
right.
I think, of course, they are going to want some star value and some name value out there. But I do think, like, younger guys like this that I just mentioned that aren't quite up there, they could build them and have them be their whole entire promotion practically.